I'm Maricella, I'm a fashion designer, obviously, I wouldn't be here. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll dive into the nitty-gritty of my designs and all that stuff, and then it'll be fun. So I'm from Sacramento. You know, I was born and raised there. Right after college, or no, excuse me, rewind. Right after high school, I went off to UC Santa Cruz, where I was a banana slug. And I was doing accounting because I love math, and I'm actually quite good at it. It's one of the few things I'm actually quite confident about. And I was there for 2 years, and after that, I got really tired of it, and I knew that I was wired differently, and I wanted to do something artistic. So I was like, hey, Mom and Dad, sorry, I'm going to have to cut this safe road kind of like short. And they gave me their blessings and stuff. And they're like, yeah, totally, just go to San Francisco and do the whole FITM thing. How that happened was I was at a bus stop going to class, and I found a pamphlet on the ground. And it was like a FITM one, which I thought was really random because I knew that FITM was in San Francisco and LA, and then there's like a few other locations. And I remember picking it up, and I remember thinking, like, back in that one Spanish class, we had a few people come by and talk about the school, and I was like so in love with it. I was like, yeah, I wanted to like go to fashion school, but I knew that my parents weren't going to be open to that. They wanted me to go to school and do business management and do something really safe. It was a really big deal because being first generation, they really wanted me just to go to college. So anyway, so after 2 years, I moved here, and I have no regrets. I've had a really good time. I attended FITM for about 3 years. That's only because I kept having to drop classes there and there, and it took me a little bit longer to graduate finally. And I like built my foundation here, because coming here, I didn't know how to use a sewing machine. I didn't know how to sketch, and I found out within the time like my strengths and my weaknesses. So I hate draping, but I'm actually quite good at pattern drafting. I hate sketching, like freehand, but I love doing Photoshop and Illustrator and making flats and doing a lot of, like, you know, illustrations that way, because that's what's easier for me. So after I graduated, I was like in a weird like grace period. I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue school. I knew that by staying here another year, they would offer like a business degree, but I really wanted to fully immerse in more design work. And so I, you know, searched out different schools, and I realized that Academy of Art could have been like a great potential for going for my bachelor's. But in the meantime, I wanted to kind of create my own like first collection. I graduated FITM, as I mentioned. And this is some of the work that I did at FITM, like in some of the like draping classes and pattern drafting classes. There was very few pictures I could find, honestly. There was a lot more. But my first collection, which I'll show you a few pieces in a bit. I was inspired by Gone with the Wind, by the idea of using old beat-up curtains and old blankets, just like the Mammy did in Gone with the Wind for Starlight. And so I'd go to all these thrift stores because I'm really poor and I want to buy all these pretty fabrics, but I can't because it's just really expensive by the yard. So I'd find like really cool scraps at thrift stores, and I would make it work. And that's what I did with the first collection. When I was able to showcase it, which was sometime in May 2012, I couldn't find any girl models that were available, so I had a lot of male models that were into drag and wouldn't mind getting all dressed up. So it was kind of a nice twist. So I had all my little queens dressed up in my dresses, and I was really proud of it and had a good time. And so that was my first fashion show ever. And I took the same collection, and I kept showcasing it at different shows. Had a really good time with it. They did too, obviously. And then I was able to venture out, and I went to San Diego, and I did a few shows there, just by word of mouth. These are some of the editorial shots that I had worked with a really awesome photographer who also goes to the Academy of Art. And he had like a set theme because it was more like it was for his final project before my portfolio, so we kind of just collaborated on this whole like Joker's card kind of twist. And so these are all curtains. These are just old curtains and tablecloths that I found at thrift stores, and I kind of just used them and recycled them. And to this day, they still kind of hold up well. This is one of the dresses. It's kind of beat up now at this point, but just old curtains. it's really hard to use this sort of fabric too because it frays a lot. So I learned a lot in the process of doing my first collection, and but I still had a lot of fun with it. Some more of the editorial shots. Curtains. So Academy of Art. This is about a year later, and I was like, yeah, why not? And Academy of Art offered a lot more like design classes. So you're taking like 2 different portfolio classes, and then like a pattern drafting class, and doing all the same stuff you did at FITM, but a little bit more. I started on a new collection at this point, and I showcased that at another San Diego show, which was like the start of the collection that I was going to showcase at Fashion Week later on that year. And then Fashion Week came around, and I was able to be a part of it, and it was awesome, and a lot of work, and I met a lot of cool people. And these are more of my editorial shots that I worked with the same photographer. Some of them. There's Lisa. There's Lisa again.
So Maricella, so you're almost out of time. Just hit your final point
Totally.
and then wrap up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is what I'm doing now. I'm still doing a lot of fashion shows. I currently intern at the factory where I'm doing a lot of their marketing work. I was published finally in a magazine, which now I can check off the bucket list. And I'm still doing a few shows. I'm currently working on a new collection, which I hope to showcase later on this year. And yeah, just concepts. This is what I do for fun. I kind of just play dress up, but with a dress form, and have fun with it, and then get all these sorts of cool ideas and kind of just go from there.
Okay, so let's
Concludes it.
yeah,
That
that's
concludes it.
time, right?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's have the 2 models in front of the judges, please.
So the judges will have 5 minutes Q&A time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No pressure.
So are you continuing to use the tablecloths and curtains? Or
Yes.
is that
But that just kind of happened like naturally. For instance, this was just like a plain cape that I had showcased for Fashion Week, and then I had some really cool leftover.
and is that a requirement in your design, or is that just
No,
something that you
it's just something that I do all the time, and I don't think about it. I'm just like, hey, that's a really cool tablecloth. I'm gonna add it to this, and then make for a really cool idea for the back.
And are you finding those in thrift stores or
Thrift stores or hand-me-downs that my mom finds in her closet, and stuff that I've had like just accumulating over the years. Like I have Tupperware like full of fabrics, about 4 or 5 of them. So
Could you describe your target market customer?
that is a good question. I believe that my target customer is definitely someone who's artistic, who's sort of flamboyant, kind of a hopeless romantic, has a love for theater, because all of this is sort of dramatic and I don't know, it can be a little bit too much. In my design classes, I've always been told that I should just go with costume design because it comes off a little too costumey, which I'm open to, but I feel like I'm at a stage in my life right now that I'm still trying to just find my design philosophy and find who I'm actually designing for. Like I'm still like growing as a designer, and then at some point I'm hoping that it'll just click, and I'm like, hey, that's who I'm gonna design for the rest of my life until I end up switching or something.
What's your career goal?
My career goal, well, I want to finish school, and I'm just about a year away. Ideally, I would love to go to New York, probably jumpstart like a brand. If not, I'd be down to move to Milan and work in design houses, and or continue my education and go for my master's and get into St. Martin's in London. I mean, I'm kind of just open.
If you were selling your stuff, Maricella, where do you see it selling? What kind of store? What street? What city?
A boutique, and if it was in San Francisco, definitely the H Street.
Okay.
That's where all
And
the crazy
the way I'm looking at the fabrics and the way it's made, are you going for this arty one-off kind of concept, or would you see yourself selling multiples of these items?
I'm open to the idea of just like custom right now, not so much mass production. I know that like I've been told that that's not where like the money is, but I feel like there's a whole lot of like lot of work that goes into one garment. And if I could just make one of it and sell it to the right client, I'd be happy with doing that.
So what are your price points for your one-offs?
Well, with all the fabrication and then the labor that goes into it, I mean, possibly a bridge market, 200-300, depending on like the pieces, you know, when they're finished and everything.
And could you describe what your models were?
So this is my last collection. I was inspired by the horoscope sign Gemini, good versus evil kind of thing. And that's just me in general. So I'm quite fickle when it comes to inspirations. I have one idea and then I'll build on it, and then like it'll turn into something else, and I'll just stand there and look at it and not know what I did. Like, how did this happen, sort of thing. And I'm okay with it. It was a lot of like bad girl, good girl kind of thing. So that's what my inspiration
Are
is.
these the opposing looks in that? Which one is the bad girl? Which
This
one
one.
is the good girl?
This one's supposed to be bad. This one's supposed to be good.
Let's see the inside.
So did you make both pieces? And this is what?
This is just a cape. About a few days ago, it actually didn't even have this. It was just more like closed off with a ribbon, but I wanted a panel and I wanted the little closures like an eye to kind of add to it. I have a thing for collars. Maybe that's because I'm so envious and I wish I had a long, beautiful neck, but I don't. So I design, you know, and they have high collars in that regard. So.
Okay, 30 seconds left. Any final questions? No? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have